someone says something perverse, and then we start it so that you can catch the tail end of that in the intro.
To embarrass somebody?
I'm not falling for that.
Welcome back to Podcast The Hero. This episode is brought to you by Cornbot. You may just think of Cornbot as the chat bot that lets you know when PTH shows are on Discord, but in reality, it's one of those real steel robots powered by corn ethanol. It's also brought to you by our patrons, Chris, Evan, Zane, Rody Loves My Dink, Robert, AJ, Deconomus, Matt, Mushy, Zach, Kane, Dan, KH Pandas, Cornman, Jeffrey, Mason, TBJ, Anthony, Yuri, Nick, Fruit, Ashwin, and High Tops.
Wow.
We're getting too many. It's too many to read. It's getting bad.
Speaking of reading, I will now read our
Jesus.
introduction. I met our guest today a lifetime ago. He was a completely different person back then. He was heavier and hairier, and his name was even different. I believe he was called Eric. Picture, if you will, a man steeped in rebellion, confronting day spa managers and clashing with the proprietors of the long-forgotten Licks restaurant chain. Eric thrived on punk rock rebellion, harboring a disdain for the double-kick pedal. Even in the chill of winter, he sipped iced black coffee, mirroring the frostiness of his once darkened heart. His linguistics tricks left people baffled in his wake, and not one person could see the frightened boy that cried out from deep within him. Eventually, though, through the marvels of modern surgery, that young boy was cut free from Eric's womb. I believe the boy's name was Michael, and that's a different story altogether. After the boy was liberated from him, Eric felt a deep peace within him and began to change. He gave up his wicked ways and even changed his name. Our guest today is the newly reborn Son of Light, John Meloche. Pretty true, huh?
There's some pretty good stuff in there. Some deep cuts.
Deep
cuts.
Yeah, some of it was based on truth.
Yeah, there's slivers of truth just sprinkled around in there. Stuff I didn't remember about myself.
You didn't remember clashing with the Licks restaurant?
What? I can't believe did I tell you about that?
Oh, yes.
Oh, a real penchant for complaint letters once upon a time.
Are you a Spotify guy or an Apple Music guy?
I'm a Spotify guy.
Spotify. So you know how like you put on a record and then when the record is over, it starts playing music by other bands that are similar in nature. I contend that Wilhelm Scream Radio, like the stuff that plays after you listen to Wilhelm, is the best thing ever. It's like the best mix playlist of bands, and is how I learned about one of the bands you were in. This is a Standoff. I didn't know them until I was, finished listening to Career Suicide or something, and it came on, and I went, my God, what is this? I must listen to it all. So yeah, like it's and then from there you go into like click the related, or you might also like, and then you find like other bands in there like The Fullblast because of that connection. And so I think this is the best thing ever. The fact that Wilhelm and you guys and like all in the same little thing for me, that was really, really important to me in my musical. Well, I mean, I was in my 30s, so I couldn't have been that young. But,
so what you're saying is you didn't realize how important John's contributions to music were to your life.
I actually have a thing that says like, I'm having a hard time grasping the scope and breadth of your influence in the scene that basically sort of runs my life.
Wow.
So what the hell's that about?
Respond?
Why? How come?
I don't know. I'm surprised to hear that. I never think of there being any influence. Just I've been in a bunch of poor man Wilhelm scream like bands. Just
This is a
circling this
standoff.
band that always.
This is a standoff, not a poor man's Wilhelm scream. They're a poor man's Belvedere, John.
Oh no!
I'm just kidding. There's a huge gap between Belvedere and This Is a Standoff, I think. Because
In which way?
it sounds the same. It sounds similar because of Steve's voice, but the songwriting is vastly different. Wouldn't you say? Care to respond?
I like. God. They put me on blast here. I didn't realize we're actually going to talk about music. This is nice. Sorry, what's the question? Yeah, I think
There is no question.
There's no question. There's nothing.
what's happening here?
It's a bunch of statements about you.
I think that I always thought it was pretty different, but I think that's like it's almost in my head you always think your new record is so much different than your old record, and you go back years later and it just sounds the same. So I could always see that like it sounds a lot like Belvedere, or maybe it's really different. But anyways, thank you. That's very nice. I enjoyed playing music.
Once.
Do you want to talk about would you rather talk about your day job?
No, this is okay.
Okay.
It's your day. Like, what do you want to talk about?
I also want to know about your day job, though. Because it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Licks complaint letter writing. Yeah. It's pretty prosperous. A really fun fact, actually, before we move off of the music. This Is a Standoff might have started because I was on a Protest the Hero tour.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think that might be true. So I don't know if Rody would remember this because it's just a blur of just chaos. But I did a tour with Protest in 2006 where I was working merch. Mm-hmm. And when we went across Canada, and then I didn't have a U.S. work visa. So it went from Calgary into the States, and then I basically stayed in Calgary for a few days, flew ahead to Vegas to wait for the guys to come in, and ended up basically spending a couple nights staying with like their parents' place in Vegas. Yeah. Because anyways, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I ended up hanging out at the pool in Vegas with everyone's parents because they had flown in to surprise them. But I ended up in Calgary staying a few extra days and just stayed at Steve's place. And I had known him from Belvedere, and he had worked on basically helping produce my other band's record at the time. And just while we were hanging out for a few days, he was talking about like wanting to start a new band, and he just asked me about like joining it and working on songs with them and stuff. And actually at first I said no. I'm like, yeah, it seems pretty far, and I've got another band. And then over the course of the days we kept talking about it, and we're like, well, I guess we could give this a shot. Like, I guess I could fly out here and do that. And then here we are. That was it. So yeah, that might not have happened if I didn't have to stay on his couch for a few days.
Yeah, we really fucked you over there. Like, we didn't provide you with any accommodations. We were just like, we're going to be gone for a while. We'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah. The original plan was, like, Tim's like, oh, it'll be fine. When I was like, how am I going to get into the States with you? And then I think the plan might have been, he's like, well, you just rent a car and drop it off in, like, Idaho or something. I was like, I don't... That's a plan. I think we then looked into it. It was like $1,000 to leave, like just drive a car one way across the border. Yeah. And then Vegas was kind of like a plausible, like I could just buy a ticket down and say I'm going to meet friends for a weekend, and then just never took the flight back.
Yeah. And fortunately, like, because our parents didn't show up till a couple days after you got there. So you met a fella on the plane, if I remember correctly.
I did meet a couple guys on the plane. Yeah. I went down there. I think I had to kill 2 or 3 nights, and I had $30 to my name. And again, you guys didn't really set me up very well for this. Right? No. Because I think I had to buy my flight down. And then eventually I got paid back like a few weeks later.
Yeah, a couple years down the line.
but yeah, I had $30, and I was like, this will be fine. Like, people just don't sleep in Vegas, so I'll just stay up all night for 3 days. And if I need to sleep, I'll go to a movie for a few hours and just sleep with my $10. And this seemed like a totally viable plan to me. That money disappeared real quick. But yeah, on the plane on the way down, there was like this kind of an older guy. I think he was about 50 from Georgia. And he is talking up saying like he was going for a work conference. He'd been there a bunch of times before. And anyway, I just kept kind of following him around all night. Like we got to the airport and I was like, hey, can I like jump in your taxi with you? He's like, no problem. We're just waiting for my friend. And like he took me to like a bar there and we waited for his friend. He bought me a bunch of drinks. He bought me dinner. And then he eventually like met up with his friend, and then we got in a cab, and I was in the backseat with his friend, and his friend started rubbing my arm, and he's like, oh, somebody brought me a gift. Oh, that's a little odd. And so these two guys were pretty flirty with me. And I think I was like 21, like a fresh 21, probably never really been out of Ontario on my own. And so I was like, well, get the taxi and I'll take off. This seems a little odd. But when we got to the way the taxi came in, it was like the Paris Hotel. It didn't really come in on the Strip. So I went up as like, hey, can you show me where the Strip is? They probably thought I was like really trying to like weasel my way in. But I was like, can you show me where the Strip is? And they're like, yeah, we just have to go up to our room first and get changed and all that. And it's like, yeah, sounds good. So I like went up to their room with them. We all got changed. And then we get onto the Strip, and then they're like buying me drinks all night. And we're doing like, they'd have me doing shots off the bar, like blowjobs, I guess they were called, like where you like, it's like no hand shots, and they like put whipped cream on top, and you like suck them back. And like there's at one point I was like, maybe I'll get going. Like this is, I don't know. So
getting drunk and kind of scared because I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself.
Yeah. And then I kind of like went off on my own for a while, but I was alone and bored, and then I ran into them again at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And then we just kept going. Like we just went until 7 in the morning. They were just buying me drinks all night. They like bought me dinner. Like we had a great time. Just went all over the Strip. And at like 7 in the morning, they're like, "Well, we're gonna go back to our hotel room. Do you want to join us?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. I need a place to stay." So I went back to their place and. Yeah, I just like got into bed, and it was like the sun was coming up, and then the last thing I heard was one of the guys say like, "I'm getting naked," and the other guy slapped the other guy on the ass, and he was like, I can't remember it, but he was just, I was basically like, I'm going to bed. This is, you guys.
This is great. Thanks for the place to stay, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Like, thank you. This is wonderful. I just kind of went to bed, and then I woke up in the morning, and there was a message from Luke saying like, "Oh wow, our parents surprised us. They said you can go stay with them." And I was like, "All right." Got up, thanked them, got out of there, went to the next hotel over where their parents were, and then it was like a completely different vibe. Like it was very low key. We were in bed by 10. I think I was staying in Luke's parents' room the whole time, but
they're known to be ass slappers as well.
Yeah. Oh no, not again. Yeah. So.
I remember seeing you after that and just being like, "Hey, how was it?" And you were like, "Oh, fine. I met these cool guys. They let me stay in their room, and then I just met up with your parents and like hung out." It's like you were so like nonchalant about it. Hearing it now, it sounds a little bit traumatic.
Yeah, now looking back, it seems like some weird choices. But then it just seemed like, yeah, of course this is what happens. Yeah. Came home with $28 in my pocket. Yeah.
You only spent $2 in that whole. I see. You're being hyperbolic.
Yeah, I think I don't know. But so yeah, that's how Standoff started.
That's amazing.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I like that. Like it really doesn't have that much to do with us. We just kind of stranded you in a spot, and then because of stranding you.
That seems to happen a lot with you guys, by the way.
It's happened multiple times with John, actually.
That wasn't the first time. Yeah.
It happened with Hank. It happened with Luke, I think, once. It happened.
Yeah, Luke got away from us one time.
Yeah.
Wait, what happened to Luke?
We were getting pissed up in Whistler, and he dove through a table. full of beers. And then he was worried the people were going to kick his ass, so he just ran away, and we lost him in the night. Period. End of story.
Yeah. Where did he wind up?
Yeah, where was he?
When we finally caught up with him, he was on like a city bus, headed to who knows where. He was real scared. That's Rich got in his car and found him somewhere. Who knows? That's old truth, you know.
Yeah.
I have a song title question.
Oh,
I'm sure this has been asked before. But you guys had a song, and the Flats have a song, both called Fred's Got Slacks. They're two different songs, both with the same title.
both named after the SNL skit
SNL
with Garth
sketch.
Brooks and Will Ferrell.
Yes. Who was first, and who's the dastardly thief?
I got to think that it was the Flats that were first because they did that song was a long, long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
What
that's
do you
a good
answer?
question. No, I'm going to be honest. I have no idea.
That's fair. But, like, you have a connection with that band, so I just was curious. Like, was there a story there that, like? But no, just coincidence.
No. Well, I think it's probably coincidence. Yeah, that's I'll ask somebody about that and write in an answer. But no, I don't know, because Full Blast was like, I'm just kind of came in as like the live guitar playing person way after the fact.
Oh, it's a Full Blast song. I thought it was a Standoff song, which is, if it was a Standoff song, you would know the answer.
Yeah, I would hope I'd know. I think that at first I was like, we don't have a song called Fred's Got Slacks. But yeah, I know there's a Full Blast song. I think timing wise, I think the Full Blast one is second.
Yeah.
I think the Flats one was out earlier.
I don't know for a fact. I don't know anything. I don't even know the Full Blast one. I just know the Flats one. So I'm going to
I
say
had
the
never
Flats
heard
one
of
came
that
first.
SNL sketch.
Oh, no?
No.
It's
Maybe we'll
when
look this
Garth
up.
Brooks tries to sell his soul to the devil to write
Oh.
a song.
I know that one.
And
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of
yeah.
the songs he writes is Fred's Got Slacks. And all the songs that he
Okay.
writes are not very good.
Yeah,
You like
I do
comedy
remember
stuff? If you like comedy stuff, you'll like it.
that. No, I know. Yeah, no, I don't care to laugh.
What about James Eats Planet loves PCP?
That one, I think they. I feel like I'm just the worst person to answer any of this. I hope this whole thing is just a slew of like, what's the inspiration behind these Full Blast songs?
Yeah.
I do think that
It's not. It's not. This is the last one. It's just because I love Jimmy Eat World. Because I'm like a second wave emo kid from like, the like mid 90s emo stuff. And so I'm a big Jimmy Eat World fan. And so it was clearly a reference. And I was just curious.
yeah, you actually just stole the only answer I was going to have. Where it's like, I think it's a reference to
It was
Jimmy
a
Eat
reference
World.
to Jimmy Eat World. So the actual question here is, what is your position on Jimmy Eat World? And if you hate them, I will be sad.
No, I like them.
Okay. Rody's no fun. He never likes any of the bands I like.
Well,
I
I'd like
think-
that song, The Middle. I've heard of it.
Yeah, that's a song.
That's
I do think. I honestly, I'd actually be interested to get your take on this as a Jimmy Eat World fan. The only album I like by them is Clarity. Is that the album?
really
No, Casino. Wait, what's this called now?
The one with
let's
Big
go-
Called
Casino
White
on it?
Pony.
Yeah, is that called Clarity?
I
called
think
White
it is
Pony.
called Clarity. Pretty sure.
This is.
I have the vinyl over there somewhere.
And you don't know
Oh
what
wait,
it's called.
I have it right beside me here.
Do you guys both have copies of that record nearby?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could like get up and walk over and grab it right now.
You could get up kids over to that Jimmy Eat World record.
We're going to talk about the Get Up Kids here in just a second, actually.
I don't know anything
Wait.
about these bands you guys are talking about. I know The Middle.
It's called Chase This Light.
Chase
is the
This
one that has
Light.
Big Casino on it.
yeah. What did I call it? Clarity.
Clarity.
What is
Clarity.
that?
Clarity
That
is the
one of-
one before
one of our
Bleed
songs.
American.
Oh,
It's a really great record. It's their second record.
okay. I'll have to check that one out.
You guys know
And
that
then-
song, The Middle? Ever heard of that
No,
one?
that's on Bleed American.
That's a good one.
But Claire, the first one, I guess it's technically their second one, but this first one that they acknowledge is Static Prevails. And that's the one where the other guy, the guitar player, does all the singing. And then they switched for some reason, like
Oh, weird.
completely switched.
Because that guy has such a unique voice.
Yeah. He did not
What's
sing
the-
at all on the first
What's
record.
the other guy sound like? Is he any good?
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good.
Is he-
Static
the
Prevails is a
Eagles.
pretty good record.
kinda like
Anyway, I was going to talk. You talked
River
about, you name dropped Matt Pryor in an interview with Punk News.
I did.
Yeah. You're like, we were playing a show or whatever, and you named a bunch of bands, and you were like, Matt Pryor from the Get Up Kids, and blah, 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 blah. And I was curious because that's also like one of those bands that just is like very special to me. And I was just curious if you have any connection. Like, were you a fan? Did you listen to the Get Up Kids at all? Do you care at all about the Get Up Kids? It's just that Matt Pryor happened to be at that show.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. Yeah,
That's
I'm
the
not really
answer?
God, I'm letting you down. This is I'm not really a Get Up Kids fan. I'm trying to think of what this interview was this me specifically in the interview?
Yes.
Maybe you were
Yeah.
talking about Matt Pryor, that guy from Oshawa, just used to be in the
Yeah.
Oshawa scene a bit. You know,
Yeah.
he had long hair.
Bloody Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you were just talking about that Matt Pryor. That's the only Matt
Yeah.
Pryor I know.
It said Matt Pryor from the Get Up Kids in the interview, so
Yeah.
couldn't
What
have been
was
a different Matt Pryor.
No, this is probably it. I think
It was
so my one Get Up
2017.
Kids.
It was a while back.
Oh, interesting. My one Get Up Kids experience was we Standoff. We played this festival, Grooves Rock, in 2009, and Get Up Kids played that, and I didn't really. I kind of like watched them, and I was like, I've heard of them.
You're like, eh.
People around me were really excited. Like our one of my good friends was teching for us on that tour. Dan Seaweed. He plays in a band called Carpenter. And he was so excited to see Get Up Kids. And somehow it happened after we were in like the back area or something. And somehow I ended up hanging out with a few of those guys and I had no idea who they were. And Dan kept kind of losing his mind. Like he's just like, this is so crazy. It's Get Up Kids. And I was like, yeah, they seem really nice. I don't know.
They seem like full-grown adults to me.
Yeah, exactly. But I ended up hanging out with him for a while. But I think basically like somebody was talking to Dan and kind of like almost pulled him away from it, where he was like across the room and just he could not get away, and he just kept on looking over, and I would just be laughing and having a great
having a
time.
blast with the Get Up
Yeah,
Kids.
just like yucking it up for about an hour with these guys. And just like having a great time, and I was just like, I don't know who these guys are or whatever. But I would look over at him, and he would just have this like longing face, looking at us. And the next day, I remember him being like, I looked over at one point, and you were all just hugging, like you were just in a big group hug. And I was like, yeah, we were in a group hug. Like we were just having such a great time, we just started hugging. And I can't remember like what the context of that was, but I just remember like he was just so heartbroken over it, and like that made it so special that you could cause that for somebody else.
It's so great. I love it.
Oh,
I fucking love it.
that's fantastic. So you were probably just referencing Matt Pryor from the Get Up Kids because you were like, I met this guy last night. Seemed pretty nice. Said his name was Matt Pryor. They had some little local band called the Get Up Kids.
Yeah,
Some band, don't know. They must be like a local band, something. I don't know.
Yeah, just local Belgian.
Yeah. Yep.
And,
Just
yeah.
Belgian dudes.
I don't know. He just kept hugging me. Yeah.
Lucky guy. Lucky guy.
I don't even know if he was one of them there. Like I don't know any. I just know
Yeah.
that like these guys were in that band. So
Yeah.
if I'm dragging him into it and he wasn't there, like that's possible. I don't know.
I'm super
Somebody hugged me.
interested in this interview you did where you were talking about him a bunch.
Yeah.
I would love a reference to this too.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah, this is great.
That was, that actually kind of ruins one of my questions here. Is I have
no.
down here, you do interviews?
I like that. It looked like you were about to write down the question that you were going to ask. Too.
Yeah, I was going to write it down and then scratch it off.
That's a good feeling, though, right? To even just to write something down just to cross it off a list is a good feeling.
Yeah,
even if
that's
it
my
wasn't
favorite
on the
part of the
list to
to-do
start
list.
with.
Yeah, write a new to-do list.
Are you the reason that Chris Cresswell is in Hot Water Music?
No.
Little bit though.
A little bit. It's behind every man's another man.
Yeah.
No, I wish I had anything to do with that. But no, I was at Fest in 2016, I think. And I went and I was watching Hot Water Music, and I looked up. I said, "Oh, Chris is playing with them." So that's how I got introduced.
That's how you got into Chris. That's how you got into Chris's stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like a band I like. No, I think that Chris Woolard just couldn't make that at the time, and they were kind of just like, "Do you know our songs?" And he's like, "I know some songs," and that was it. And then he just like basically filled in for them. He wasn't like joining; he was just kind of like filling the. It's like I don't know. This is basically just the plot of that sweet Mark Wahlberg movie Rockstar playing out in real time. Like he gets to join his favorite band. Yeah.
Love that movie.
Well, I just know you've done work for both bands, and I just thought maybe, there was some like, hey, I know a dude.
I wish that was the case. I think I end up doing work for Hot Water Music because of Chris being in the band.
Oh,
so it's the other way around.
Other way around. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, where'd you get? Is this from that interview John did again?
I don't know. I just
in there
I find intersections between things, and then I assume things. That's what I do.
This is great.
I'm friends with the Get Up Kids, and I'm responsible for Chris being in the fucking Wonder Years or whatever it is.
Wonder Years.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we were talking about. I'm so sorry. I know it's Hot Water Music.
Those guys, they're all great huggers. This is all I have to.
Is that true? The Hot Water Music as well?
I've never touched them.
Who's the best band you ever hugged?
I think the only hug I've ever gotten is from a Get Up Kid.
Is that true?
In your whole life?
Yeah.
From like
nobody
a whole
ever
band.
hugged you before?
No, you hugged individuals
that's why I
before.
met them.
Those dudes in Vegas, they probably wanted a hug.
Probably wanted a hug.
You probably just that's the only band you've ever hugged. Like you've hugged individual people constantly.
Like grazed somebody on the subway once.
That counts.
Do you want to talk about like
40 Cent Fix?
What?
You were gonna ask him about 40 Cent Fix?
Yeah.
That's John's original band.
Yeah.
I got a 40 Cent Fix question for you.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys get those clocks made, man? I have one of those 40 Cent Fix clocks in my parents' basement. It's probably still running somewhere right now.
Yeah, those. I think we just bought them at like Giant Tiger. Our bass player. So I guess we can take this back a step. Fritz, we had these clocks. 40 Cent Fix was exactly 12 letters, and we had these clocks made that just said 40 Cent Fix for every hour. So that's a great story. But it was like the only hot selling merch item we ever had. We made like 15 for one show, and it was like between the parking lot and getting into the venue, everyone bought a clock. Like it was just, people had just never seen a clock made for a band before.
That's true.
It wasn't, again, I can't take credit for this. Our bass player Drew just showed up with them, and he's like, I figured out that they all have 12 letters, so I just printed off a bunch of like inserts and put them into the clock, and then we sold them for like $5. So, but it lasted. Yeah.
It does. It was honestly on the wall in my parents' basement for probably 20 years.
Wow. I don't know if this tracks, but I think Jesse Colburn might have told me once that Was it him? I think he's mentioned that the ticking sound at the start of the Blindfolds Aside video is a 40-cent fixed clock microphone. Is there any chance that's true?
There's a chance it's true. I don't know why Jesse would know that.
I don't know either. That's, as I'm saying, I'm like, this sounds like somebody would have made this up just to make me feel better. Because I asked for a hug and they said no.
I hope it's true, honestly, but I don't think it is because that was Juice who put that noise in there, and I don't think he would have had access to a 40-cent fixed clock outside of me, and nobody touches mine.
Nobody.
That's mine.
It's in your parents' basement, but nobody touches it.
But I like that Jesse's out there making things up that are cool. Making up cool lore. Jesse of Avril Lavigne and Closet Monster fame, of course.
Yeah.
Okay? We got to specify. Yeah. He's not just some guy out there talking about clocks. He's not just some guy out there being like, you hear that clock sound? I'll tell you where they got that.
Yeah. Now I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. Well, I'll get to the bottom of it, too. I text Jesse every now and again when we both had too much to drink. Say, hey, man, did you read this book? It's a good one. So, John, I don't have a question.
Wait.
What?
I just here's the thing. All my questions and all of these things are always just like, hey, remember?
You're the dude. You're Chris Farley from SNL back in the day. Like, remember that? Remember that movie you were in?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And that's what all of my stuff is like. Hey, John, you remember that thing you used to do that you called shirting? Was I the only victim of that, or was that a thing you did to a lot of people?
That one was a thing, yeah. Back in my bigger days, before I had lost a lot of weight, I used to sneak up on people and pull my shirt over their head so they'd be trapped between my shirt and my chest. And usually it was best if we had just played a show and I was a little slippery.
It was like sandpaper in there.
Yeah.
So your chest hair was like, it's stuck out. It was rigid.
Yeah.
It stuck out?
Oh,
I guess so.
Right in my face. When you lost the weight, did you also lose? You seem less hairy to me. I don't know what it is, but I don't get shirted by you that often anymore. But just seem like
it's never too late. I don't know what happened. Yeah, just my hair started falling out after I lost weight.
Just like your chest hair.
Yeah. There's stuff going on. Speaking of shirting, Rody, you used to rip a lot of people's shirts off their bodies.
Yeah, that was a thing for sure.
That's your thing.
Why?
Did I ever
Has
do
this
that?
happened to you, Fritz?
No. Like hockey, like pull the shirt over your head kind of hockey fight type thing, or like literally tear the shirt?
Tear the shirt. Did
What
I
if
do
it
that
was
to you,
like
John?
a beloved like Care Bears
so
t-shirt?
It didn't matter. I was younger and I was drunker.
This was like 2 years ago.
2 years is young. I'm doing it right now.
I went out with protests for a couple days. 2012 maybe. It was like heavy MTL. Yeah, it was like there was
heavy
Toronto...
DO and heavy MTL. Yeah.
Yeah, and I went for a few days, and for some reason, like I don't know, Fritz, do you have like a nice like your feel good, your big day shirt that you're like I feel good today?
Yes.
Yeah, I wore that, and at one point on the van ride after that day, Rody just got a little riled up in the van and hopped over the seat and just ripped it off my body. It's like my best shirt.
I'm so sorry.
That's yeah. You need to send a gift in the mail. You need to figure out what that shirt was.
John won't give me. He won't give me his address because of that.
Yeah. I think I just yelled out, "Oh no, my big day shirt!"
My big day shirt. How long How long had that been your big day shirt?
About a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, I think my big day shirt was like 4 or 5 years old. Like same shirt for like 5 years. This is the shirt I feel the best in.
Yeah. Here's the worst part about all of that. I almost choked a man to death for writing on my big day shirt. I was talking to someone and he was behind me and he was writing like, Rody's a big friggin' stinker on my back of my shirt. And I turned around and was like, you didn't just ruin my shirt, did you? And I put him in a chokehold, and it would have been around the same time too. I strangled him. I was so mad. How dare you do this to my shirt? The audacity. Who does that?
Who goes around ruining shirts?
Meanwhile, all the while, like I used to rip people's shirts all the time. And my own.
Yeah. It's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I took that shirt to like a seamstress or something and like tried to have it fixed. They put it back together and it just didn't.
It was just like never the same.
It was never the same. It was like I got it back and I was like, this is right in the garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made the mistake, like at one point I lost a lot of weight and I had a bunch of like, I was working in a job where I had to like wear nice clothes, you know, like shirt and tie kind of office job. And I was like, I don't want to go and buy all new pants. So I took all these pants in to like a tailor and was like, can you please take these pants in? And they did all the stuff and I got them back and I was like, I can't wear these. Right in the garbage. Like it just, the way that they did it, like just made them look ridiculous. And I was like, nope.
Ridiculous.
Not only did I pay this tailor all this money to fix all of my existing pants, then I had to go and buy all new pants.
So they fit, they just didn't fit right?
Yeah, they just looked real weird. Like they were
just weren't supposed to be
all
that.
wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. This was back when you still wore pants that had pleats. You know?
Yeah.
So, because I'm old, pants
I don't
that
even
used to have
understand
pleats.
What a
and cuffs.
pleat is. Did you wear those little things that keep your socks up, that garters?
Yeah, I still wear those.
Fritzy's very old, you see, John.
I'm very, very old.
How old are you?
How old do you think I am? And then add 25 to 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm old.
Wait, how old are you? And then add 4 years. That's how old he is, dude. Because you just turned 40.
I did just
Happy belated birthday,
Welcome.
John.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome to the worst decade of your life.
I don't know, 30s were pretty bad.
Really? My 30s actually. I don't remember my 20s, so I just assume they were pretty great.
Yeah, that's a good barometer.
You guys are actually pretty similar in your ways that you guys were big boozers and one day just stopped boozing and now you don't booze no more.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, that happens to a lot of guests on our podcasts.
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Me and some sober folk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, John, you do guzzle down a couple of little alcohol-free pops here and there.
I do. I like the near beers.
I like them
Yeah.
too. I had them for the first time in Toronto for the protest show. Carson from Callous Cowboys wanted to buy me a beer, and he also doesn't drink, so he's like, I'll get us a couple of near beers. And I was like, all right. And they were really good.
Yeah,
Big fan.
especially these days, they're really good. Like 10 years ago, it used to just taste like you had left beer in the closet for like 6 months and found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like if you'd ask for it at a bar, they would kind of wince and be like, maybe we can dig one up in the back. And it felt pretty bad.
Yeah,
It
they
tasted
really
pretty
wanted
bad.
to ask you to leave.
Oh, yeah. Like it was generally
Well, 'cause-
offended. Like, why are you in a bar?
Because there was only only Heineken made it back in the day. Like,
Yeah, those are horrible. Yeah.
yeah. Now, like,
Yeah.
everybody's making them. And now, like, there's the big thing of, like, mocktails. Like, people are making, like, mixed drinks with no booze in them, and they're great.
Yeah.
That's the juice.
Well, yeah, basically.
John, is there something crawling around by your feet there?
Yeah, my dog.
Sorry.
I was hoping
I wrote
it was
that
like
down earlier.
I was hoping it was like a child.
That
That would have been real funny.
Yeah,
my son has very long fingernails.
I wanted to talk about like what stuff you're doing now.
Oh yeah, because you're doing cool stuff.
What was the I think the last Fullblast show was Edmonton, right? What is it? Before we get to that, what does it take to get if we really wanted like a Fullblast show? Like if we wanted to like, hey, one time come, what does that take? Is it like an arm,
we know you're
a
top
leg,
of the totem
both?
pole. You can make this happen.
Firstborn. Is it all just based on Brian's availability?
No, he's probably like one of the easier ones because he's like in that rhythm of playing music.
Yeah.
Like I legitimately have not pulled my guitar out of the case since that Edmonton show. So that's, and before that, I don't think I'd played it in about 2 years. Like it's a weird thing where like I was kind of even like begrudging going into those Edmonton shows. I was like, I have to learn these songs again, but that turned out to be like one of the most fun weekends ever. Yeah. Like I don't know, none of it landed. Like when we planned that a year before, like looked at the lineup and just thought this is insane. Like all these bands will be in one place at one time, and then that as it came up, it was kind of like I was just really busy. It's like a busy time of year at work, and I hadn't played guitar in so long. I just was not in the mindset. And that week, I was just in the worst mood all week. Like just such a pain in the ass. Got out to Edmonton, I was just like, see people and play stuff, and then it just within like hours, like we went to there's a secret show on the Friday night. I don't know if you were there, but
I was not.
No. Too secret. I guess.
I had some friends that were there.
Yeah. Yeah. And Rody, were you there yet? I don't think you guys had made it into town yet.
No, we did. We came in fairly early, but we were rehearsing because that was like we hadn't rehearsed in fucking years, and we flew into Edmonton and like were rehearsing for the first time in a long fucking time because it was COVID. And I remember that, like JFK was like, the secret show's happening, it's gonna be sick as hell. And by the time we finished that night, it was long since over.
Yeah, it was super fun. I remember like that. I kind of like by the time I got there and like started seeing people, I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then like that show there was also like Monine and Living with Lions were playing, which I love both of those bands. And like Monine I hadn't seen in years, and every time they play, it's like
They're
offensive
the
how good they are. Yeah, it's like I talked to one of them after and was just like, oh, like you're so good, like it must be a lot to practice for these shows and blah blah. And he's just like, oh, we didn't practice, like we haven't seen each other at all. And like they're so much better than like any band that I've been in that's practiced or anything like that. They just show up, kind of crack their knuckles and play.
Misery Signals is the same thing.
Yeah,
I was talking to Stu, and he was like, oh, did you make it to the secret show? And I was like, no, we were practicing. And he said, you guys practice? Like, how are these bands so fucking tight and awesome and they don't practice?
Yeah. It's brutal. But yeah, it was so it turned into be like the most fun weekend. Like we had like there's a whole hotel attached to that venue, and just every room it was like, you know, like some of the Flats guys were in the next room, Carpenter guys in the next room, you know, my band was around there. I had friends from Ottawa that just randomly were on the same floor. Like every room was just like kind of different people from a different stage of life or even like music life or whatever. Yeah. And it was, I just like could not, like everywhere you turned, it was people like, oh, I haven't seen you in a long time, and all these kind of worlds colliding. So it was so fun. And I was kind of like laughing at myself all weekend that I'd been kind of just a little brat going into it. I'm just like, oh, what a pain in the ass to have to go do this. And it's like, it turned out to be one of the most fun things since hugging the Get Up Kids, you know? But,
that was a great weekend, man. Because, like, as you said, like it's so many different people from different walks of your life, and then it's like they're just all smashed together in one fucking place. It was also, I found it like kind of overwhelming.
Because on top of like, hanging out with a bunch of people that you've known for a long time, it was also like, I want to see all these bands.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, by the time we were going on stage, I was like, my fucking feet hurt. Standing here.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. I know they kind of did a little bit of it this year, but I don't think JFK was involved in it, and it seemed more like just a big show.
Something weird went down. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't the same sort of vibe. Like Pup played, and that's cool. I think they played, but it wasn't like the whole idea was just like get all of the buddies together and smash them in one fucking room, and it was like that was so much fun.
Yeah,
The second year.
Yeah, it was also like the best organized, executed festival or show or anything I've ever seen. Like they just nailed it on everything. Like everything was so well taken care of, and it was just like smooth and fun. Not too many people, but enough people. And it was great. And then, I guess for us to go back to the original question about Fullblast, I don't think it's that hard to get the band together. I just think it's like something fun has to come up. Like I don't think like when we did the reunion shows where I first started playing, I think we kind of did a bunch of small things in there and almost were trying to like get things going, and it was like the ongoing work of just being ready enough to play a show like every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Felt like a lot for people at our age and with life going on. So I hope that we'll do something at some point. Like we left there that weekend, like, this was amazing. It's so great to play together. And like there's never been a whisper of we should ever play another show again.
Or maybe they're just not whispering to you.
Yeah. Who could
like
blame
you're
them?
the newest guy.
Yeah.
You put out those guitar picks that said Johnny and the Fullblasts or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't like that, John.
Yeah. I showed up to
I
my
liked
first.
it.
I liked it. I showed up to my first practice with them with those guitar picks. And I was like, this is either going to go really well or really badly. And it's kind of like, well, all right, let's jam, guys, and pulled them out and just like, hey, do you want some? And it said, Johnny and the Fullblast.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
You must have known them well enough to know that was a joke that was gonna succeed.
I was leaning that way. Yeah, like I knew Andy really well, and we have really similar senses of humor. And so I was just like, well, Andy would probably find this funny. And hopefully, Brian, Ian, and Darren. Like I'd never met Darren. I'd met Ian a little bit, but it worked out. Yeah.
My God. You know what? You've never struck me as the kind of person who cares that much if the joke doesn't succeed. Because the point is the joke.
Yeah.
And that's why you're one of the white whales. When we started this fucking podcast, I said, I only want it to be people that make me laugh. And the only two names I can think of are John and Josh. Because I can only think of J names.
Who's Josh?
Josh Scoggin.
Oh.
Maybe you've heard of him.
Quite frankly, that sounds made up.
It is.
Oh.
Truthfully, I could only think of you, John.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, let's talk about what you're doing now.
Right now?
Yeah, this minute.
Talking to you guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not that
You play for the Blue Jays now.
Now I play for the Blue Jays. Yeah, that is correct. Yeah. Yeah,
Well, I know that you work for the
segue
Blue
into
Jays. I don't know what you do for the Blue Jays. I think it's awesome because I know that you fucking always loved the Jays. And you kind of got your dream job. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's close. I honestly, for a long time, I forgot about baseball. Like for almost 20 years, forgot baseball existed. Like I loved the Blue Jays as a kid when they were winning World Series, and then like the '94 strike happened, and I just kind of started playing guitar, and I was just like, well, I'll just go do this, and then basically, I just forgot about baseball altogether. And I think like 2011, moved to Toronto, and Kreeft, who you might know, like one of our mutual friends, was like, hey, you want to go to a Jays game tonight? And I was like,
Kreeft is not a friend of mine.
okay.
He's an employee of mine.
Sorry, my mistake. yeah, he just kind of was like, "You want to go to a Jays game?" I was like, "The Toronto Blue Jays," and I kind of like, yeah, we went to some games and kind of fell back in love with it pretty quickly. And then yeah, I just basically like I was just playing crazy amounts of fantasy baseball and like out of the park baseball simulations and stuff like that. And at one point I was like, I should go work for a baseball team. And just like one of those things, like how does that ever work out? But I like looked online and there was like a job description that described my exact skill set.
It's just like running the bases with the junior Jays.
Yeah, that's right. I'm Ace's third line backup. So yeah, it's basically just I've been a like designer and developer for years, and it was basically the job was basically just a developer internally to develop baseball systems for the front office. And so I basically just applied, and I was like, I'll never hear back from this, and I made a goofy resume that looked like a baseball. Like a Yahoo baseball profile, so I had like a headshot and I had like stats, and it was everything was like baseball themed. And I was like, I'm just gonna do stupid stuff, and I guess that worked. So here we are.
That's so sick.
Yeah, and so yeah, just basically like just design like internal web applications, so stuff that's used with like pro scouting and player development, and you know. Whatever else, I don't know, just anything that is basically used by any part of like the baseball operations department. So it's pretty fun.
I'm sure it's not like as horny as you thought it'd be. Like when you were going in, you're like,
this will be horny.
This is horny, you know, like gonna be thinking about baseball nonstop. But I'm sure it's also like just kind of a job where you're like, some days you don't love it as much as you're horny for it.
Yeah, like any job, it has ups and downs. I think there's been, over the first while, there was a lot of like, wow, I can't believe this is my job. Like, for some reason, within like the first week, somebody in our office was like, hey, you guys want to go hit in the batting cage? It's like, we get to do that? And so we went, like it was like week one, I was down, like taking cuts, like I was using one of the players' bats, like just off the rack, and just like, oh, like Brandon Drury, I'll use your bat. And just hitting baseballs in there, and like that's never happened since. Like I've now been there only almost 5 years, and like that's never come up again. And somehow like week one, someone was randomly like going to go hit in the cage, and so there was stuff that happened really early on that you're like, this is insane. I can't believe this is my job. And then now I'm like, that wasn't my job. That was a fluke.
Yeah.
It's.
When I was in college, I was pledging a fraternity, and then the first week, they took us all to the strip club. Never happened again after that. So I think it might have been a little bit of like, you know, selling you on it. Like, yeah, this is great. Check it out. We get to go hit in the batting cage. We get to go do all this stuff. And then once you're in,
we're not going to torture you one bit.
Yeah. Once you're in, it's just like, nope.
Yeah. Every year, like I have like a performance review, and I'm just like, hey, is batting cage happening this year? Like,
Did I miss the calendar invite on that one?
Yeah. But yeah, for the most part, sometimes any job you kind of have bad weeks or months or years, or you get stressed, but I'll sometimes have to keep it in perspective and be like, oh, you get to make baseball websites. Like as good or bad as it gets, like you just kind of get to think about like what else does this baseball related website need. So it's generally like how bad could it be.
You were also like instrumental in the beginning of Sheet Happens.
Yeah
Like you fucking laid out all the books. Well, instrumental is accidental pun. But like, you like designed all the books. You laid them all out. You did all that shit. You did a bunch of layouts for our shit too.
Yeah, I like that your tone sounds like you're kind of confused. Like, did you do this?
I forgot you were a designer, John. I completely forgot you were a designer. I just thought you were that funny guy I knew.
Oh yeah, not much of a designer, but you know, it's I'd say that was. The Sheet Happens stuff was basically just Luke hiring me to do Fortress tab book. Yeah, we did Fortress first. And he just sent me another like another band's tab book, and was like, we would love to do this and try to release it to people. And so we made that. It sold really well. And he's like, do you think we could do Kazaya? And then it just kind of more came in, and then all of a sudden it was like build a better site, make more books. And yeah, by the time I was kind of finished doing them, like I stopped 3 or 4 years ago and like handed books over to HK pretty much. I think I'd done somewhere like 160 or 170 books by that point.
Jessica Crookshank.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I know. That's where I got it from.
Yeah. Yes, I did a bunch of those, and yeah.
That's wild that you and Luke ended up working together for such a long time, based on the first time that you guys really met, which was in that van ride with the Sleepy Burger, if you recall.
Yeah.
Could you tell Fritzy that story at all, if you feel good about it?
I feel good about it. I still feel fine about it. Yeah, the basic, like, I had like seen Protest, or like my old original band 40 Cent Fix had played with Protest in like 2004 or something like that. Like before Kazaya, they were just a bunch of little snot-nosed teens, pretty much.
Yeah.
And like I guess like I kind of befriended Tim a bit, and then when they came back to Ottawa, what happened? Somehow, like I think it was an afternoon show, but nobody told them it was an afternoon show. They're like a Death by Stereo tour, and I was really excited. Like I'd never seen them basically since I think the first show, and like kind of like, oh, who is this band? So they show up, and they showed up so late that the promoter in Ottawa was just like, you can play 2 songs. This is all you get. You showed up late. This is not our problem. So they basically got up, played 2 songs, and got off. I was like, oh, I actually would like to see that. And I was talking to Tim, and he's like, well, you can just come to Kingston with us in the van. And I was like, okay, that's great. So next day I hopped in the van, went to Kingston, and they were like, you sit in the front, you make sure our driver, I can't remember what his name was.
His name was Dave, and he was a very sleepy man.
He was a very sleepy man. I will also say this is a little bit my fault, because I was like, oh, I have a place for you to stay. One of my friends was like, they can stay on my place. Like, I got room for everyone. And when we got there to his place, he had nowhere but hardwood floors. Like, I was like, I'll crash here too. It was the worst. I was like, I may as well have just left these guys in the street. And like, I slept on hardwood floor. I had the worst sleep. Everyone was tired. And so, yeah, we go to Kingston the next day, and they're like, your job is to sit in the front and make sure this guy doesn't fall asleep while he's driving. And I was like,
and he's going to try his best.
Yeah. I was like, you can count on me. And I had this book I was reading, and I was really into the book, and I would just completely just like be reading, like, oh, this is great. And like, I guess he was just like falling asleep at the wheel beside me, and I was just completely unfazed by it. He'd keep yelling at me, being like, keep an eye on him, wake up. So I did poorly. It's basically what happened there.
And then
and I paid for it. Do you mean what happened? Sorry, go ahead.
You don't remember what happened next?
Like that, on that ride?
On that ride.
What happened next?
When Truk when Truk took over driving and drove to the Via Rail station.
Oh.
He was so mad at you for not keeping Dave awake that he drove you to the train station and made you take a train home.
Wow.
I'm going to correct that a little bit. It's still very cold and heartless. I did make it to Kingston. We went to Kingston. We hung around there. And then the next day we were leaving. And Tim was like, you can come to Quebec City with us. We're going to Quebec City. And I was like, yeah, sure. And as we were pulling up, like the next stop was like the Brockville train station on the 401. And Tim just says like, hey, is everyone cool if we bring John to Quebec City? Not a single word spoken. And then he was just like, sorry, bud. And he just pulled off, left me at the train station in Brockville, and it was like, all right, see you later.
It's wild how my mind distorted that story. Like, I feel like I can see the train station in my head.
I can see. Yeah, you did leave me off. You just showed me the courtesy of letting me come to the Kingston show first.
I just cut out the Kingston show entirely in my mind.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And I like Kingston.
Yeah.
Beautiful old war homes, wartime homes.
Yeah, it was a lovely time. But yeah, it was. I will also it was 2005. I was again 21ish, and I was a little shy maybe, or a little timid. I don't know, but it was pretty crushing to be just dropped off at a train station and rejected like that. But here we are.
I can't. Yeah. I would be crushed if I was an adult person of my current age and that happened. I would be just crushed.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I honestly, I see it happening at some point in my future. As being friends with Rody. I feel like I will be abandoned somewhere in a place I don't know.
I can't wait to leave you at a train station somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
It's character building, honestly. It's made me who I am today.
He did last week threaten to have my dog put down. So
extenuating circumstances.
I have a game for us to play.
Ooh.
This is I have some questions about the resolution of famous standoffs, police standoffs.
Okay.
For you. So we'll start with 2014 Dallas, Texas SWAT went to an apartment after a woman reported that she had been assaulted by several armed men. It was a 6-hour standoff. And how was it resolved? How did this 6-hour standoff finish up? They took the suspects into custody. There was a shootout. It was the first instance of swatting, or they were surrounding an empty apartment.
I gotta think there should be a third option in, which is that the police went in and killed the victim of the crime. Everybody got away free.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the swatting one. That seems a little more fun than a lot of them.
They spent 6 hours outside yelling over megaphones at an empty apartment.
It's a very Naked Gun.
Yeah.
In November of 2017, a SWAT raid on a suspected drug house in Detroit ended with the police taking the suspects into custody, B, how many hours was it?
He's making it up.
Yeah.
6-hour standoff at an empty apartment.
Oh.
C, the suspects,
First instance of...
the suspects got away for an odd reason.
What?
This is terrible.
Is there any more?
No, that's it.
Oh.
I'm gonna go. Lightning has to strike twice. We're going with the 6-hour empty apartment.
No, the suspects got away because when the cops broke in, they started fighting with who they thought were the suspects, but they were another group of undercover cops who were raiding the same apartment.
I really wish that all the answers were just that one where it was
They're just 6 hours outside.
standoff with an empty building. You just found 5 or 6 instances of the same thing happening.
In November of 2008, I'm making myself laugh. 30 police officers responded to what they thought was a bank robbery in New Jersey. It was resolved how? They arrested the suspects. B, they spent 6 hours outside an empty apartment. C, they went inside and found out that it wasn't actually a bank, it was a sperm bank. Or D, they were yelling at a cardboard cutout.
I'm going to be really upset if it's B, but I'm going D.
It was D. That's correct. They were in a standoff with a cardboard cutout.
That's for real?
That's real.
There was like a cardboard cutout in the window
Yep.
of like a...
In the window of the bank. In February of 2019, California Highway Patrol officers got in a high-speed chase with a Ford Mustang, and the driver drove the car off the highway into a neighborhood where they stopped, and he and a passenger fled. The police surrounded the vehicle for 45 minutes, guns drawn, ordering the third passenger to get out of the vehicle. That third passenger was A, sleeping person who didn't realize that they had been in a high-speed chase.
And an accident.
B, the guy's dog. Or C, a life-sized stormtrooper.
It's obviously the dog.
I'm going to go with the sleeping person. Is that A?
Yeah, that would have been A. But no, it was a stormtrooper. It was just a stormtrooper costume in the back seat. That
Oh, it was
thought
an
a
empty
person.
stormtrooper costume?
Yeah, it was empty. There was nobody in it. It was just a stormtrooper costume that was in the back seat.
And they had a 45-minute
45
standoff
minutes.
with
Guns
an
drawn.
empty stormtrooper costume?
Yep.
Pretty cool. I'm starting to think you're not very pro-police there, Fritzy. Why are you giving all these examples? Why are you making the good guys look dumb?
My uncle was a California highway patrolman. He was
Yeah?
Chips.
Do you
I
love
grew
him?
up with Chips in my family.
I grew up with chips in my family, too. Salt and vinegar.
Salt and vinegar, baby.
The only good kind.
Okay. Last one. In 2018, officers in Terre Haute, Indiana, were in a 2-day standoff with a murder suspect. During this standoff, the suspect did what? A, had a sleepover with some friends. B, recorded himself surrendering, but couldn't get the video to upload. Or C, snuck out of the house and went grocery shopping at Walmart.
I'm going to go with C.
C is correct. He actually left the house, surrounded by SWAT, somehow went grocery shopping at Walmart, and then came back to the house.
He came back?
He came back.
That's
Why
the
on
crazy
earth?
part. Yeah. Is there anything about how it resolved?
I think in all these scenarios, they killed them.
Yeah,
Especially
they
the
all
empty
died.
stormtroopers.
That was it. Yeah. In this case, the guy was killed.
Oh,
I didn't want to get that dark, but yes, he's
boy.
he's no longer with us. There
now
you go.
I also have a game based around one of your band names. This is going to be like, how much money does it cost to fix these things?
Oh no!
And I'm going to make it up off the top of my head.
Off the top of your head?
No, I'm not going to. I'm just. There's no game.
Oh,
It's all a lie. I got another one that's like, how much is this blast? I haven't come in 3 days. Is it a full one? It's a full blast.
is it a full one at 3 days?
Oh, I would think it would be a full
What's
blast.
the turnover time?
15 minutes?
You don't have
Like,
that
how
off
long
the top
till-
of your head.
I said 15 minutes.
It's not 15 minutes.
John? Care to respond?
He's like, I don't want to be a part of this conversation.
Yeah. That sounds like a you problem.
Before we do our gifts, I don't know that all the stuff that I'm bringing up is just a relic of yesteryear to you. You got a big boy job. You can't laugh about cum or anything like that anymore. But when was the last time you mumbled someone?
Oh, honestly, maybe 15 years.
I thought so.
It retired, yeah. So, backstory for Fritzy and anyone who doesn't know the mumble. This actually is, I think, how I got to know Rody. But I used to be able to do this thing where if you drop 4 made-up words into a sentence while you're asking a question, you don't really ask a question, but it sounds very legit. My dad used to do this to people when I was a kid, and I was like, what is going on? He eventually taught me, and it became this thing. I think this actually happened in Kingston in between
Van and train.
Drive and yeah,
And I still
Van and
didn't.
train.
I still
I think
didn't
I was
stand up. You taught me my life's favorite trick.
Yeah, and Rody got good at it at one point where I think you dropped it
That one.
in like a city TV interview or something like that you were doing.
I did
You
it to
came
Barry
back and-
Taylor on Edge 102.
Okay.
And he was not happy about it.
And so basically you drop a few made-up words, and so you just go like, hey Fritz, do you think you could pass enough? You could say you can't back with most of the people that have been on the podcast so far.
Yeah.
There you go. And then
Yeah.
if somebody does say yes, then you go like, oh, that's weird. Why is that? And then they just kind of freeze because they're being
You
polite.
force them into
Yeah.
coming up with a response to something they clearly had no idea what you just asked. And
Yeah,
they
they'll
just
say
said
what a
yes
couple
to
times.
be like, I didn't hear you, but I don't want to ask you to clarify, so I'm going to say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the worst thing for the people too is there's usually another group of people in the circle that know what's going on. And everyone's looking at this
Yeah.
one person and just cracking up on them.
I think the first time you did it to me, you had me on the line for like 15 minutes. And like I kept just being like, what? And you were like, oh, sorry, man. I speak a little weird when I'm nervous. And then you do it again, and I'd be like, and I remember you being like, yeah, no, like I had a really bad speech impediment when I was a kid, so sometimes it sort of just like comes back. Like it was like a long time, and when you finally were just like, I'm fucking with you.
Yeah.
I was like, this is the greatest fucking I've ever received.
Amazing.
One of my favorites was when I first met Chris Cresswell. Like I had known him a little bit, and we were somewhere, we were at a music festival. He was pretty drunk, and I just started doing it to him. And
Yeah.
he's just the politest person you'll ever meet. Like he just would never
He
want
truly
like Rody would be fine with like laughing in somebody's face, but Chris is just like he's just so nice, and so he just kept like, I'm so sorry, I'm just not getting it. I'm not getting it. And I'm like, it's okay. And I was like really laying it on to make him feel bad. And eventually he's like, can you text it to me? I was like,
He let you go so long.
yeah. He's just like, he's like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe the music's loud. I don't know. He's like, can you please just text me? I'm like, honestly, like text costs like 30 cents each, 50 cents each or something. And I'm like, I don't know if I want, like, we're kind of down the road here. And he's like, I'll give you the money. And so he gave me like 25 or 50 cents. Like he scrounged it up out of his pocket and gives it to me. So I will text it to him. I was like, okay. And then I basically like, he gets distracted and walks away. And I just text him, I'm fucking with you.
That's amazing.
He really is
Yeah.
the nicest person on earth.
Yeah.
I saw him last weekend because they opened the dungeon again. Which
Oh,
is
wow.
like, yeah, the greatest. And I went a little overboard, and I'd had a lot to drink, and the flats played, and they were amazing. And like we went down into their dressing room and like said hello, and I just like was like, hey man, I gotta go. I can't behave myself. I know it. I gotta just go. It's nice to see you. You guys are really good. That's how it came out in my head, but it probably came out way shittier than that.
A lot louder, a lot slurrier.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
gruffer as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is it the same location of the dungeon?
It is. So, like,
Wow.
they've redone the whole fucking thing. You know how there was a laser quest upstairs? That's now like a 1,300 cap venue.
Oh, wow.
And it's like amazing. It's really quite beautiful. And then there is like it connects to where the dungeon is. They've like preserved the original like stairs that go down to it, but then inside it's like obviously they've got rid of that urinal that was always chocked full of piss. They've done a very nice job, and it's awesome in there. And it was like really cool to be back in there for the first time in 20 fucking years. And then also
Yeah.
it was cool to see the Flats play there. Someone who I had seen play there previously.
Yeah, that's amazing. Didn't you guys play the last show there before it closed?
I think so. Like I think it was the last show. I don't know for sure. Again, it was like 20 years ago, so it's like hard to say, but it would be cool if we did, so that I was there the last time it was open and then I was there again the first time it was open. But that's just for like personal sentiment.
Yeah, it's very selfish.
It's extremely selfish. You know me. Don't rip my shirt off. But I think we're going to do the gifts,
Yeah,
are we,
we've got
Fritzy?
gifts.
You sent me.
I sent you.
So mine needs a little explanation.
Mine does too.
Okay, whose would you like to hear first? They're both songs, it seems.
And my gift is just in the mail? Or?
Yeah, you don't. Nothing.
Yeah.
That's on the way.
No. If you'd like, you could purchase a Gert Guzzler.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's
They're
just a
expensive,
big
but-
cardboard straw for sucking on yogurt.
Yeah. If you
Okay.
got a lot of yogurt to consume quickly,
Yeah.
it's a pretty good purchase. It'll pretty much pay itself off in 2 tubs of yogurt.
you can't be right.
At some point, it starts generating money.
Yeah. Yeah, it starts guzzling itself. Yeah, why, Fritz, you go first.
Okay. So, Cheese, you have it, right?
Okay, I can see here that this file is called the Whitby Gaslight.
Yeah. It's called the Whitby Gaslight. And this is in response to your gift last week. And Rody's gift last week was he wrote a song where he explained that when I die, he's going to cut a hole in my back, climb inside my body, and then grab my dog, take my dog to the vet and have my dog put down, then cremate us both.
So they can be together forever.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing.
It's actually kind of sweet, to be honest, but
So this is in response.
Okay. I love it.
I'm gonna move into the house next door, but I won't say a word about it. And if we happen to meet out on those Whitby streets, you must have me confused with someone else.
Let me get this straight. The idea is that you're going to move in next door to me,
Yep.
and when I see you,
Yep.
I'm like, hey, Fritzy, you're going to be like, no,
Yeah,
it's not. That's the whole thing.
yeah. But everything will remain the
Gaslight
same.
me.
The podcast will continue to go. Text messages will continue as they always have. But if you see me in person,
Nope.
nope, you must have me confused with somebody else. It's the Whitby Gaslight.
you have a very lovely voice.
Oh, thank you.
Kinda
truly do,
sounds
and-
like, sorry, go ahead.
No, you.
Oh, me. It kind of sounds like Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh. Love the BNL.
Yeah, you must get that a lot.
I don't sing very often, so
That's
I
like the
don't-
first time I've ever really heard him sing. Because here's the thing about my gift is last week, like we've been getting a couple messages that were like, we'd love to hear some Fritzy music. So last week he wrote me a song that was just instrumental, and he was like, I struggled to write melodies. How do you write melodies? Hence my gift this week.
Oh, no. You wrote a melody to my song about how you can't close your ass?
That's right.
Okay.
I sent it to your email.
Oh, it's in my email.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Now I got to go.
But I did this in 30 seconds this afternoon. Almost no effort whatsoever. You see, John.
What email did you send it to?
Old Fritzy at www.porno.com.
I don't have it.
You don't have it any which way?
What time did you do it?
I don't know. Yesterday?
Oh, yesterday?
Well,
It's a pretty well-oiled machine.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I don't have it.
Okay, I'll just send it to you now.
You can just send it. Yeah, send it in the message.
It's going to take me a while, though, dude. You know me.
It's
I don't know
okay.
how to use these.
We have the ability
I don't
to
know.
edit things. I won't remember to, but we have the ability to do it.
No, don't remember to. Here, I'll just scoot her over to your phone there. And also, it's titled Working Together. At some point, I was just in a hurry. And I couldn't even finish. And it just becomes garbled nonsense.
I hope this is a setup for something you've worked on painstakingly for
Yeah.
6 months.
My fucking.
Oh,
Just
God,
work
okay.
together and-
Okay, I see. I understand. How do I take this? I need to take this
I
file
texted
now.
it to your phone.
I need to put it in a place where I can get to it.
But I texted it to your phone.
No, I don't have that. You texted it to my laptop.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, let me text it to your phone then. Oh, it's going to go to Screwed as well.
Okay. Well, screw it. There we go.
There. See, we're good.
I got it. Here we go.
Fritzy couldn't write a melody to this song. So I brought it one to show him just how easy it is for me. Oh yeah.
I can't close my ass.
See? Pretty easy.
That's not really nice of you.
Well, it's a gift.
It's a gift
give-
for me to understand how easy it is for you to do something that I find difficult.
That's correct.
That's your gift to me.
It's my gift, and I used it against you. So, John, what did you think?
Put me in a tough spot here. I'm gonna have to go with the Fritzy on this one.
Golly.
It was like a
Oh, that feels
slow,
real
groany
good.
version of Lovers in a Dangerous Time.
That feels
Yeah,
real,
you know
real
what?
good.
I think that was the right decision. You did the right thing, John. You
Good
did.
effort. Good effort.
I'm upset about it. But
The
it was right
Patreon
thing to
has
do.
voted so far that your gift has won last week. By the way, so
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
in
Do you have
in the now Patreon era of Podcast the Hero, we are tied 1-1.
Wow. That's so cool.
The week-
Kate said tonight, she was like, John won't let you be funny. I said, what do you mean?
What's that mean?
She said, well, what she meant was, you're so deadpan and you're stoic. And she goes, John won't laugh at these jokes. John doesn't like cum jokes. He'll hold his pose. And that's John funny.
That is funny. I know. I've laughed a few times just to seem human. After saying something.
You just had to turn it on. You're like, wait a
Just
minute.
like laugh
It's
cue.
been 15 minutes since I have done any. Okay, I will laugh now.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just you drop a little one-liner. You just gotta throw a chuckle in so people don't take offense.
John, I feel like you used to have a lot of trouble back in the day having people take you seriously because you were always joking in your dry, wonderful way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when you get your job 5 years ago, that's not so difficult anymore, is it? People don't know your sense of humor, and you can develop like a work personality.
It's a whole other John out there. Yeah.
But are you kind of joking them the whole time?
Yeah, it's one long gag. Yeah, gonna finally pull off the mask one of these days.
Oh, that's John. He's not funny at all.
Everybody in the office is like, we have this guy that works here. He's so serious all the time. I wonder why he never learned how to have fun. What did his parents do to him?
Yeah, it's all valid. I actually don't know if you're that far off. I think there's probably people who are like, that guy's very serious. But joke's on me, I guess, for not having fun. The reason I stopped doing the mumble, Rody, was I made somebody cry with it. Because I just was so serious about it and so serious about the being like, oh, I can't believe you've done this to me, or I'm offended. Like somebody cried and it just felt so bad. It's like, this is not healthy. So
this is not who I want to be.
No. This is not who the world wants me to be.
Your commitment to the joke is unmatched, though. Like, truly. I'm going to say another one of my favorite jokes that you've played, and then I'm going to ask you for what your longest con is. There was a night where John and I were driving around Ottawa. He was driving me, and we were going all over the place. I don't know, Zaphods or whatever the Ottawa places are. And at some point, I was like, John, you are like the smoothest shifter I've ever felt in my life. Like, you've been shifting gears all night, and I haven't felt a thing. And he goes, oh, yeah, is that right? And he continues shifting, and then I look down, and there's no shifter down there whatsoever. The car is completely automatic, and he'd been doing it all fucking night. So could you think of like a longer con than that?
That's a good. I have done that in the last week.
You've done that recently?
Oh yeah, I do it. It's very satisfying to pretend you're shifting a car. Yeah. I don't know of any longer con. I don't know. That's nice that sticks out. On that same drive around the city, I used to have this 80s mix. This is before the days of Spotify or Apple Music, when I would just painstakingly think this song will make the mix someday, and then downloaded everything, and I curated over 6 months this 80s playlist. And people would get in the van and just be like, oh, I love this song. I love this song. It was just every song was hit after hit.
Banger after banger.
And on the same night driving around, Lady in Red came on. Rody got so serious and just sang along note for note, perfect pitch, holding it in one ear. His heart was in it. I've never seen him care about anything before. I've never seen him put this much effort into Protest the Hero performance.
Yeah.
Lady in Red comes on, and he's like, this is my American Idol moment.
I really do love that song.
Yeah. It's a great song.
I don't remember doing that, but I believe I did because I love that song so much. Especially the part at the end when he just goes, I love you.
Yeah. I whisper that to my girlfriend every night before we go to bed. Just go.
Yeah, I don't whisper it. I play Chris Dubois or whatever his name is. I play just that part of the song for Cage just before bed.
Yeah, well, that's good too. Yeah, you should record yourself singing it. But
a cover song of it.
Yeah, but just singing over the recording.
Not even harmony, just mains.
Yep.
Yeah, love it.
I think that's it.
That's it. Wow.
No, I think at this point, yeah. I think at this point, all we have to do is usually we have the guests tell the audience to eat shit and go fuck themselves. But if you don't want to do that, I don't know. You signed a contract. You kind of have to.
Oh no, that's what I was signing.
You missed the
thought it
part
was
when
for
you
the gift.
join the studio in the app. There's like a terms and conditions.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone have a great time. Love each other.
That's a really good sign off.
That is really.
Is he she?